Hey, I'm Conrad, and I've scaled over 50 local service businesses here in the Midwest, any home service, auto service, you name it, to hit 50K, 100K, 200K months. Now, the most common thing that a lot of these businesses have before starting on, in particular, we do Instagram branding and all that stuff, is the price objection of it's too expensive. I want you guys to stop competing on price. That's the whole premise of this video. Now, how we do that is we need to avoid people telling us it's too expensive, because you're in the situation right now where you're trying to grow your business right here. And you're spending more on marketing. You're having to worry about fulfilling on the new work and labor. And you have to worry about maintaining those profit margins that you worked so hard to get, right? So say if your profit margins are a healthy, 40, 50% right now, and you have a crew that's being busy around the clock, and you're looking to grow your business. Okay, so the first step is going to be to spend more on marketing. Now, when you do that, you're going to fulfill on the work that comes in from that marketing. So you're spending more money on the marketing, you're spending more time fulfilling on the work and the new labor that has just came in, and you want to make sure those profit margins are still healthy, because that's going to allow you to actually make money off of this. Because if you double your work, but you cut the profit margin in half, you're doing double the work for the same amount of money. You want to avoid that situation. So usually what this all leads to is a decrease in sales, okay? Because you're spending more money on the marketing, so you have less money to spend in other places. You're cutting to that profit margin, and the time commitment of this new work is so high that you're not able to focus on closing, which is your main goal because you want to grow your business. So typically what happens is people will start trading off quality. That's also something you want to avoid, because then that impacts your reputation. But if you still want to keep the pressure in terms of increasing sales and growing your business, your quality is going to drop. So you're stuck in this cycle of, do I trade off higher quality for less sales, or do I trade off less quality for more sales? And that's something you want to avoid, because then you cut into your reputation. And the thing is, then you're left with only a few options here. You either undercut your margin, so then you give people a cheaper rate, so you sign on these guys. You don't have to worry about the sales process, which is very time intensive. You just give them a price and they're like, yeah, it's the best price I've heard, they're going to go with you. But then you lose out on potential money. Or you get hit with the pricing objections, and people are like, hey, for the amount of quality that you do, I'm good. I don't want to get sold into that, because they see that you prioritize sales over quality at this point. So it ends up being a big problem, because despite some of you guys doing, free estimates, which is another time investment, and as you get more of those estimates booked up, it's another time commitment, and then you can't focus on the other parts of the business, and then it's more of your time. You're able to be less on the field, less in the office, managing less, stuff happens, equipment breaks, somebody messes up, quality control isn't there, it ends up costing you, and it ends up cutting into the profit. So despite you giving out free estimates and losing, some money there based on your time, and also cutting into your profit to make these jobs cheaper, so then these new people that you're spending these big marketing dollars on actually sign up, it's terrible. Like, you want to avoid that. So my main thing here, it's not a pricing problem. So the last thing I want you guys to do is be like, oh, people aren't signing on, let me drop my price. Then you're acting like a commodity. That's not where you want to be. So it's usually not a pricing problem, it's a trust problem. Now here, without trust, pricing becomes a deciding factor. So what do I mean by that? If people don't trust you, you're seen as a commodity. Like I said, it's a trust problem. When people don't trust you, they haven't seen you before, they see you and your company on the same playing field as everybody else, even though you may have higher quality. And that's when pricing comes into play. Because if they're like, hey, Joe down the street, in their eyes is the same guy and he charges cheaper, they're going to go with him, right? So you need to translate some of these objections that you get. So we found it cheaper is really like, we didn't see why you're safer. We didn't see why you're better. Okay. We're going to go check out some more guys. You sounded like everybody else. So they want to see if these other people, which to them you sounded the same as, are going to be cheaper for the same work. Or they'll hit you with, send me your options, I'll see to check out some other guys. And the problem is they didn't see your work, they didn't see your track record to set you apart from everybody else. And now with all these pricing objections, you're stuck over here with, yes, you're spending more on ads, you're spending more on marketing, but the leverage is not there. You have to focus on getting the new labor. You have to focus on maintaining that profit margin and selling these new people. And it ends up costing you in time. And when you start losing time in the business, that's when you stagnate in terms of your growth. The whole goal of this is to grow the business big enough to where if you're on the ground, let's have it be at a scale where you can hire people to get off the ground. If you're already off the ground, let's get it to a place at scale where you can get a manager so you don't have to worry about that. So that way you're able to focus on growing the business, some of these bigger, heavier hitting decisions. Now, what we do to set you apart from everybody else is branding. This is the key thing that's going to solve these problems for you when you're trying to scale your business. Right now, you might be able to get away without branding, just off of word of mouth, people that you've worked with for the past 2 years, that's fine. But as you scale and as you spend more money in ads, this stuff on this end, if it's not taken care of, it's going to eat you alive, literally. So with branding, what is this doing for you? It's the same reason why you're willing to pay extra for an Apple product, because you know there's going to be quality. You know there's going to be execution from Apple, the company, as well as you trust them because you're already pre-sold because you may have, seen their products, tested them. It's the same thing that we want to do for you. Okay, so for service businesses specifically, this is achieved with content. Now, not just any content. This is going to be video content with you on camera. That's the key thing. So this is showing off past work, some quality control. So, for example, you pour your concrete this way, not this way, as well as client testimonials of other people telling the audience about their experience working with you. This stuff is going to help you avoid looking all the same as all these other profiles. Because if you look the same, guess what? You're seen as a commodity. So if right now you only have some before and after pictures and happy Memorial Day, of course people are going to treat your social media seriously. And especially because you don't have any eyeballs on it, which is another problem. So then you're not going to see any returns. And you're going to be like, oh, social media doesn't work. It does work. You're just seen as everybody else. So there's nothing separating you. So what we need to start with is that consistent proof, like I said, just like Jake did. So Jake, he spent $1,400 on ads and collected $64K cash collected with a crazy return. And this isn't so crazy when you think about it, because on his page, he has videos breaking down what he does. Fences, playgrounds, basketball hoops. He has the engagement. He has the local eyeballs looking at his service. And all that leads to, boom, sales, boom, sales. These aren't people that came in and, oh, your price is too high, I don't know. No, they came in pre-sold because the branding component was already there. And that's why he was able to collect this much cash in 1 month. Now coming down here, same thing. Like Gio, we started his page from scratch. And the key thing is with his 25x return on 3,400 and spent 85K cash collected right here, we have the checks, is the video content on the page. And him showing some personality, getting his goats, getting his animals on camera, as well as building trust with his video content, explaining the process of what it's like to get a high quality hardscaping job with very healthy profit margins without having to undercut his margins. So he's able to scale now at a consistent and manageable rate. So he's able to scale now at a consistent and manageable rate without having to worry about, oh no, I'm going to cut down on price. Is this worth it? And he's able to put more money into marketing, which is fueling even more growth. It's an upward spiral as long as branding is there. Coming down here to Mike's Moving Company, similar case, 12x return. This much in ad spend of 28 grand. And the whole thing is, it's the branding. It's the branding. It's him standing out as a professional, having these realtors trust him as their referral for their clients because their reputation is on the line as well. And he also charges a premium for moving. And despite that, these realtors choose to go with him as a service provider instead of a random moving company because he's demonstrated competence, trust, testimonials, and quality of his moving service to them. And for this case, Instagram happens to be the best platform for it because of this grid view. This is Mike's grid view right here. Before you hire a moving company, client testimonial. Here's the app explaining his storage facility, some funny stuff with the crew. This is all building trust, and Instagram's the best platform because it's very visual. You're able to display everything you need all in one spot because it's able to show the high quality videos. It's able to have consistent stories of what you're doing on a daily basis. It's able to have an optimized profile specifically to attract local. And if you combine that with a top of funnel ad system like we have set up for our clients, which is why you've seen ad spend, crushes because you're able to get local eyeballs just local eyeballs onto your page. People who can actually buy your service. So you're not branding to the whole US, you're branding, if you're based in Chicago, you're branding to Chicago. And if you need more information on this, there's going to be a link in the description for the video breaking down that specific ad strategy. For this, it's mainly branding to avoid those price objections. So all of this leads to long-term growth and a high return on ad spend over time locally. Like you've seen, this does extremely well for local businesses. So if you need any help with this, DM me on Instagram. Take a look at my profile. You can take a look how optimized it is and go watch your content there. YouTube's awesome, but take a look at how the page is actually structured, as I'm running the exact same strategy myself. I very rarely get any price objections because the competence and the quality is displayed on that profile. The results are there. So if you need any help with implementing this for your local business, shoot me a message on there. There should be a message me button. So shoot me a message and I'll give you some feedback on what you have going on, what you can improve with the profile to finally start standing out from the competition and stop getting the reply of, it's too expensive.